right, so hey everybody, it's me, Kai Man.
It's me, Phoenix.
And we are the Human Experience. Today we are talking about letting go of the ego.
Yeah.
And is it really necessary to do so?
Not all the time.
Not all the time.
Sometimes you gotta exercise your ego.
Sometimes you do. So first and foremost, when we talk about the ego, it has something to do with our self-esteem. And it has a lot to do with how we feel about our own importance in the world versus everyone else. So a lot of times when people are talking about, ego and how we are kind of walking in ego, they're meaning it in a negative way. Mm-hmm. But there's also a positive way of really looking at that. What are some ways, maybe positive or negative ways that you've walked in your own ego?
More negative than positive.
Okay.
For sure. I ain't learned how to really exercise it in a positive light because I always used it for like protection and the shield.
Gotcha.
And so in relationships, really, like when relationships would challenge like my position, I should say, and I feel like I'm being overpowered or like somebody trying to overpower me or something, or take away my freedom or take away my independence, I exercise, like it'll just come up.
What it look like?
It just come up, like, because in those spaces I try not to dish what I can't take for one, and then I don't expect nothing that I can't give. Like, I guess that's the same thing, but tomato. But like, I don't do to people what I don't done to me. You know what I'm saying? So when you try to like think you about to take control, or think you about to dominate, or think you about to, it's just it don't work out. Ego pop up. What about you?
For me, I think it operates in a way where, again, with that whole thing about control. When I feel like somebody is trying to, like, control me in some way, shape, or form, because I could not be controlled
at all.
And so for me, it kind of, raises its head in that way or shape or form. But sometimes my ego comes up when there has to be something about confidence. And sometimes it can seem like I'm being like overly confident for some reason. And I don't know really what that is, but I feel like it's something having to do with like maybe my ego, right? There are times when, too, on a negative thing, is when I could say that, and in relationships too, because I don't have people who are outside of my intimate relationships who kind of try and like take control. Not to say that my partner kind of take control or anything of that nature, but I think sometimes in the way that we want to be in our relationships, either more aggressive or more strong or whatever, and it kind of puts you in a space where you feel like you might not be that. Then sometimes the ego may go like, "Hey, I am, I am it, or I am that, or whatever." But I think for me, most times that it shows its head is when just certain things in that nature, where just like you said, basically when people are trying to kind of seem like challenge you, and then you're like, well, hey, I am the shit. Didn't you know that? What are some things that you've been working on with respect to your ego and kind of trying to let go of it in some way, shape, or form?
Most definitely understanding that we all come from different walks of life, and like nothing is right or wrong, and it's not always about my way, and learning how to live within my own freedom and let people have their attitude or agree or not, or we come to some type of balance. Because my thing is, like, I'm a logical person. Like, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people make emotional decisions. if you know better, you're supposed to do better. And so my thing is, even in a partnership, I'm like, if you know a better way of leading, I follow. I understand that law. Every teacher got to be a student at some point.
Right.
But if you just make an emotional decision, and I know better because A, I either went through that, or B, I just see it don't make no fucking sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna. I used to be a person like I wasn't budging. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't budging, and I still don't budge, but you will have more of an energetic, I guess, battle with me if you didn't do it the way I just sit down and explain from A to B to C to Z why you should do it this way. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really like trying to just be okay with living with within my home frequency and be like, all right, you did this A to Z. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And just really let ego be okay with not, you know, everybody doing because you cross your ass and dotted your T's. Like, right. It's cool. You gotta let people bump their head sometimes.
Right.
Like, you know. What about you?
For me, I believe. Well, I know for one major thing for me. When my feelings get hurt, you know, like honestly, when my feelings and this is something I had to like seriously work on. When my feelings get hurt, ego come up like, you know what? You know what I mean? My ego would just kind of just raise up, you know. And I had to realize that you were doing that as a defense mechanism. Like you were doing that because your little feelings got hurt, and you know you wanted them to know that you was the shit, or you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. But I had to realize that it's okay for things to hurt, for it because it's only gonna hurt for a moment, you know. And once you realize that the hurt was something that will help you to kind of move into a better space in life, to allow that to happen. Because I used to, like, my ego would be like, what you said?
Like, what?
Because they done hurt my little feelings. You know what I'm saying? I told me something about myself. You know what I'm saying? And I had to be, you know, because I had to really understand that the person who was saying it wasn't trying to hurt me. You know, they wasn't walking around just trying to step on your toes. They were just trying to help you. You know what I'm saying? And so that was for me a really big thing. And the more that I began to let go and feel whatever that pain was, and to begin to kind of dig up the root and understand, like, you know, oh, you were hurt by that because of X, Y, and Z, something else that happened previously. And that person probably did try and hurt your feelings or whatever, but this person is not trying to do that. You know what I mean? And so just kind of trying to look at myself in a way to where the ego didn't need to come out. You know what I'm saying? There are spaces where it does, but that's not one of them, you know? And so that's something I, you know, have been working on for quite some time. And I'm actually very proud of myself. I really have, I believe, overcome that. I really have overcome that. That's what's up. Yep. I allowed myself to, because it was like a trigger for me, right? Yep. So I began to allow that to trigger me, you know, like to come up and be like, okay, so why do you feel like hurt? Why do you feel like, you know, you want to, you know, either shut down or you want to, you know, like bulk up? You know, like, why do you want to feel that way? Yeah. And so I just kind of like talked myself through it. And the more that it happened, because I allowed it to happen instead of, you know, shutting down like, I don't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? Started allowing the conversation to be had. And then, you know, after a while I was like, oh yeah, I don't know why I did that. You know what I'm saying? Or say, oh, okay, well, let's talk about it and whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's been.
I found my proud of you too, child. I was overcoming and shit.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Shoot.
I had a conversation around what you just said last week, and it was around, so for me, like, ego jumped up when my independence is challenged, right? And so we know that when we own something and we gonna accomplish it and we gonna overcome it, we know the drive in us, don't doubt us, we gonna do this, right? But my thing was, so this was around like parenting and my mama, which hindsight 2020, I really see where my mama was coming from now, and around she wasn't trying to hurt me, like, you know what I'm saying? This taught me to check my own ego, like, you know what I'm saying, and understand a person's heart, and not like the actions, yeah, but sometimes people just don't know how to do things or don't know how to say things, but they really have good intentions about how they trying to, like, you know what I'm saying, deliver a message or an opportunity or something. So when I first started Phoenix Eagle, you know, my mama just was like, I'm gonna watch you. Like, you know what I'm saying? While everybody else was like pouring into me, she was like kind of just like sitting still. And so, but she'd always be calling me with a job. DOT hiring. Like truck driving. Like, I was like, and I remember blowing up one day and I was like, stop calling me with these jobs. Like, you know, I was like, oh my God. My grandma called me like, what's wrong with you? I was like, she don't believe in me. Like, I was so pissed. And my feelings was hurt because I was like, I'm doing this thing. I'm investing my money. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting out here. You know, I'm hustling. I'm doing, you see me doing this. Why you keep trying to pull me away from entrepreneurship? Like, you know what I'm saying? We bumped heads about that. Like, it was a long time. Like, my feelings was hurt. So, it wasn't until later I started learning about divine masculinity, right? And so I'm reading the chapter. I was reading this book. It's called Inner Her Vortex. So I'm reading the chapter, and in the chapter it was just describing like the responsibility of the masculine polarity. Like, you know what I'm saying? The foundation, the stability, the consistency, all of that. And so I was like, I ain't got that. I ain't got that. So I'm like, I'm like, all right, I gotta grow up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, oh shit. So I'm thinking, like, I'm sitting up here looking at you. Like, remember the last podcast we had? We was talking about how you wear everybody else's coats, put on everybody else's clothes, obviously emulating the men around me. Like, you know what I'm saying? The toxicity of it all, but I didn't have no divine masculine characteristics. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I was like, damn. That put me in a position to be able to see how my mama was looking at me from the outside. You know what I'm saying? Looking in. And although I believed in myself, you know what I'm saying? She looking like, I've been watching you all your life. You're not consistent. Like, nigga, I'm trying to teach you about some 401k, some pensions, a retirement plan, some stability, because I see you getting old. I see that you've been hustling all your life, you know what I'm saying, and you really ain't. Like, she had told me, she was like, you know, you accomplish things. She was like, but then you don't scale it. I wasn't able to see that. I'm just able to see it from when I set my man to something, I do it. But you jump to the next thing, you know what I'm saying? That was an ego check. Because it was like, I had to learn, like, I know my mama got my back. Like, she never, like, she loved me. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I just wasn't in position. So, you know, I've learned through checking my ego to look at a person's heart. You know what I'm saying? And just, you got to be able to look in the mirror. And admit where you not showing up.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it hurt. It do. It hurt all, like, it do. Because you be thinking you the shit. Like, but...
Like, what you not telling me I'm shit, like, for real.
It's another chapter. Yeah. It's another chapter, you know.
What for me is the beautiful part of that, or I can see the beauty in the fact that when you were reading that, how you were able to look at it and say, that's not me. Somebody else who not, you know, who in a state of denial or who not ready to check their ego would be like, yeah, I got that.
I know you don't.
You know you don't.
No, you don't.
You do not have that. You know what I'm saying? So the beauty in that is being able to see when you are walking in ego and be able to control it and to put yourself in check where nobody else has to put you in check. You know, the worst thing to be is, you know, for somebody to love you so much and want to see the best in you and try and help you flow in that, and then when they start talking to you, they can't talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a weird space to be in for somebody who love you and wants you to, you know, grow, and they can't even tell you when you like not doing what you need to be doing. You know what I'm saying? And some people, you know, we have to learn too that everybody don't specifically know how to communicate things in a way that is going to be like a rub.
Yeah.
Sometimes they say shit, it's like a smack in your face. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
You know, there are
Yeah.
skilled people who are, some people are skilled to be able to say some shit to you that you be like, oh, okay, I am.
I have all of that.
All of that. Yeah, I'll work on it. Some people say it to you and they be stepping all on your toes and feel like they grinding their heels in it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But they still don't mean any harm. That's just either their way of saying, look, you know what I'm saying? I know you got the potential. Like, I know you can be greater than what it is that you are. And you gotta really take a look at yourself.
Yeah.
Ego, when we in a space of ego, in I would say a negative light, and I hate using the terms negative, I hate using the terms wrong, but in order to have people to really understand what it is that I'm trying to say, when you are in that, walking in that like negative light of ego, sometimes people can be horrible. You know, have you ever experienced somebody that was so ego driven that their attitude was just simply nasty?
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't nasty, but like they had people. I can tell if you wasn't gonna like kiss their ass.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know how to have you around them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it couldn't be like a confident person is having a conversation or doing business together or whatever. Like, they was just so used to being the leader. To if you wasn't about to bow down to that energy, it was like, yeah, it was like you can feel the.
Like you gonna butt heads, huh?
That's why I used to always get fired. Oh, for real. Yeah, and it's like I love confident people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I grew up, my grandma, they like whole family confident, but it's the difference between confidence and arrogance. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like when you arrogant, like, and you lead with that, it's like I can't really do nothing with that energy. I can't do nothing but appreciate it from afar because you look good, doing it look good. Like, you know what I'm saying? I love confidence, but I can't be too close to it.
Mm-hmm.
Not when they don't know how to like really be like just chill, just I guess secure within his own self.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
What about you?
I've had not some be like nasty, but in a sense of being like rude, and reckless with their communication. And it's like, you do know, we are both people. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. Like, you know, I've had to, some people who walk in their ego, I've had just recently a gentleman, just recently I had a gentleman be upset about something that somebody else did. And when he was talking with me on the phone, like he kind of got like real boisterous, right? And it was because, one, he was a man. So his ego was like all needed to really be in check. But I did it in such a way that didn't make him feel like shit. You know what I'm saying? I had to say to him like, hold on one moment. I understand that you're frustrated, but I'm sure, I'm actually most certainly, I know that I'm not the person who actually made you feel the way that you feel. So I don't believe that I deserve the way that you're speaking to me right now. And he was like, you know what, Kai, you're right, I am, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't, because, you talking to me like I'm that person. I'm not them, I ain't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just actually calling you, asking you about something. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes people get in their egos because of the simple fact that either, they're older than you. They think they know more than you. And that would be silly of me to think, you're younger than me. I'm quite sure there are a lot of books you've read, a lot of things, and not a lot of knowledge that you have that I don't have. You have a whole different experience than what I have. And so I would look at that as, a plus for me because I get to experience that. You know what I'm saying? And some people don't. They be like, well, I'm older or I've been, in this position longer than you and so I know more. And, it's like, why your ego is all out the way? Like, bring it back in.
Yep.
You know, like really bring it back in. But the one thing that I have really realized though, because when we think about our egos, it has a lot to do with our self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are times when you need your ego, and that will be in the times when your self-esteem is low. Have you ever had low self-esteem in any area of your life?
Yeah. It would have to be around femininity.
Mm-hmm.
It'd have to be around that. Just naturally, because of my relationship that I got with the word, with the polarity or whatever. Like when it starts naturally showing his head, I'll be like, but no. So feeling vulnerable around that, like yeah, yeah. But
Do you is that something like you've worked on and that's you've gotten that taken care of, or is that something still kind of that comes up for you?
it still come up.
So when your ego, how do you put your ego in check with regards to that?
I don't.
You don't.
You know, I try to lean in more because I've noticed like if I pay attention to what I don't like,
Mm-hmm.
like you're gonna get more of what you don't want and don't like. So I would do more to exercise. How can I counteract this? You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is that I'm doing to be more masculine in this area.
Right.
You know. I ain't there yet. And I'm really trying because look, I know, and this happened right after I listened to Abraham, man. Like, I don't know what is it about women that like to say "girl" all the time, but it is like they said like our wonderful people say like. Like, no, they be like, girl, this, girl, that, girl, this, girl, that. Or it just be strangers that be getting in the Uber, girl. And I'll be like, or sweetie, or something like that. I was like, why am I getting this, like, double time now? Like, I was like, guys, you know this get on my nerve. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I was getting more of it. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I got to really make this to where this don't get on my nerve. Like, mm-hmm. I don't know how to heal this.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna share something with you. When I first, me and my partner first got together, I had that same kind of like mentality around femininity, and it was so I didn't realize how like ingrained it was in me until something had happened, and I was like, what are you doing? What you doing?
Pineapples.
Pineapples. But after realizing that people are going to call you what or do things based upon their feelings, mm-hmm. Based upon who they are. And I didn't realize that until I had to really work on that. That was like the first thing that happened for me to start understanding that I used to get told, well, you're a woman. It's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Yeah. You know, and I had to really start allowing myself to be a woman because I freaking am by gender. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so people look at you how they see you. It doesn't mean that you aren't who you believe that you are. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to really keep that in mind because when people, used to say girl or used to say, just all the things that you're talking about, I would feel a certain way about it. But as I began to start looking at that, like that has nothing to do with you. Mm-hmm. It has to do with them and what they see. You know what I'm saying? And people, we're in a beautiful place right now where people are really asking other people, what do you want to be called? What are your pronouns? Mm-hmm. I think that's beautiful. Mm-hmm. I'm old enough to know that people ain't been doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so there's such a beauty in that. But people will call you in the past. People will call you as they see you, not as you want to be seen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I began to really not fight with that and just let that be their issue and not mine. You know what I'm saying? It took me a minute, but I began to really allow myself to be open to all the aspects of who I am, for one, you know, and not be all, you know, again, they done stepped on my feelings because they done called me a she, or they done called me, you know, girl or whatever, and I'm inside fuming, you know. They smelling smoke but don't know where it's coming from. You know, and had to allow my ego just to relax, because that really wasn't about you, it's about them. It's how they, when they look out of their eyes, what it is that they see, and they don't know who you are. You know what I'm saying? And some people do know who you are. Now, there are people who know who you are and like what you like to be called and like to mess with you. You know what I'm saying? But 9 times out of 10, those people are not doing that. They're just calling you what they see. And so if you get upset, this is how I used to tell myself, like, if you're going to get upset about everybody who says that to you, you'll be mad all day long.
All the time.
You know what I'm saying? So let the people say what it is that they say. You know how you feel about yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, stop getting all in your ego and wanting to, you know, rise up because they done called you something that you really are. You know what I'm saying? Truth be told, you know, gender-wise, you know. So I had to really, really, you know, check myself about that, like from a lot of different angles. You know what I'm saying? Like from a lot of different angles. And so the more that I began to, I think for me too, to be honest, a lot of things that were beginning to happen was, no doctors told me this, I just know. I was going through like what I believe is menopause. So I was feeling some kind of way, and then here you calling me, girl, and I'm like having all these feelings and all these emotions. So it was bad. Let me just say it was bad. I'm like, what the hell?
Like, what?
It's really going on. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things that you be talking about, like, I be laughing because I have literally gone through it.
And it's crazy, like, because when I was younger, you couldn't tell, like, nobody could tell you I was a girl. Like, before 30, I'm going to say before 30, like, you know what I'm saying? I hadn't filled out, like, you know what I'm saying? Everything was flat. I had my thing going on. My shit got thick right here. Like, and it was like, I was more, I don't know, it was more of a mission to be, like, stood. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I found fun going in the men's bathroom. I wasn't getting clocked. Like, you could, like, I was just one of the guys going in the bathroom. What they don't tell you is, like, after 30, your body changed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your hormones change, your body change, shit just starts spreading everywhere. Like, you know what I mean? And so I started looking like my mama. Like, I went from looking like my daddy to looking like my mama. I'm like, bitch, I need a motherfucking titty smasher, now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so I guess that messed with me because I was like, well, do I look different? I was going through all this shit in my head. I was like, is my energy different? Am I acting girly? Am I looking different? I was going through so much shit in my mind. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was like a war. And so it's like, I experienced both sides of it. So I think the insecurities came around when I was like, you know, when I couldn't figure out what happened between everybody just looking at me, just knowing I was a dude, to now everybody just like, girl, like, you know what I'm saying? You like, nigga, biology happens. Like, you know? like, you know?
For real.
Shit.
For real.
Like, welcome to life. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like hindsight being 2020, man, you be like, damn, I used to put so much, because you come to, like, I'm just being, like, you come to that space, like, I'm not trying to be none of the shit. I just want to be, it's too much energy trying to, for one, be something that you ain't. For two, like, you know, it's just too much work, and so, like, settling into that, like, you know what I'm saying, understanding, like, who you naturally are, and especially as we always talk about spirituality, and, like, when you start dealing with your traumas, and when you start understanding that you really are wearing other people's shit, and you come back to your original natural design, fingerprint, all that shit, you know what I'm saying, you was, none of that shit that you put so much energy into being, like, you know what I'm saying, so you gotta introduce yourself, reintroduce yourself to yourself, and finally, like, comfort in that. No, I'm not there yet, but I know that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So now that that seed is planted, I can start, like, working on getting there. But it's a journey. It's a journey.
That's where the letting go of the ego part, because if not, you'll be fighting against yourself. Like, you really will be fighting against yourself. I tell you that I was so, at some spaces, I was so confused. Like, literally, I was just so confused. And I was like, you know, after a while, I'm like, you know, I'm just going to lean into it, whatever this is. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever this is, I'm just going to lean into it. I'm not about to fight up against it because it's going to be too much. The weight of it is already, like, trying to crush me. So I'm like, it's whatever. And when I really, like you say, when you really just start letting go and you let go of all that programming, and in this particular lifestyle, I didn't have a whole lot of programming, but it was enough to make me feel some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the things that I've dealt with, like even growing up, I had to figure a lot of stuff out on my own. That has been my life, my whole entire life. I've never had a mentor. I've never had, you know, I won't say, you know, I have older cousins and things of that nature, but I've always been a mature person. Nobody could ever really tell me anything, and nobody ever really tried to. You know what I'm saying? I had an older sister and I had an older brother, but I had to figure out everything on my own. And so when I believe that when you come up in your life and you have to figure things out on your own, and the way that you do things, when somebody comes up against that, or they're telling you you're doing stuff, or there's a different way to do that, like you're doing that the hard way, you know, you feel some kind of way because you really had to figure this out on your own. You know, you're the only person that's responsible for the way that you're doing it, because nobody else told you. So it feels like you're doing this wrong. So that's why your ego comes up like, you know, no, I'm not. This is the fucking right way to do it. And I'm going to continue to do it. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, for me, again, just being able to let go and say, okay, there are 50 million ways you can get to the store. Like, literally. You don't have to go this way. You can go all kinds of ways. So listen, maybe this is a shortcut. You know what I'm saying?
Do you find that hard, like, because of your sign, because of being a Scorpio, because it is a fixed sign, like, once you get used to routine, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I notice, like, and just because of that, you, like, kind of just good with doing things one way all the time?
I don't know. I would say yes, partly, but the other part of it is because of the way that I grew up, and that I pretty much, I can't say I raised myself. I don't want it to sound like, you know, I ain't had no mama or no daddy. You know what I'm saying? My mother, because of the fact that I was a very mature-minded person always, she would talk to me like she would talk to another person her age. Like, don't let the left hand know what the right hand knows. What the hell does that mean? What do you mean?
My mama told me that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean? Handle her with a long handle spoon. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? Instead of her, like, you know, she basically was Jesus walking around telling me parables and shit. Did you explain it out? So I had to figure out a lot of stuff on my own. You know what I'm saying? So, and I did. And the way that I figured stuff out, I believe, because of my sign being a fixed sign, yes. You know. But the older that you get, when you begin to even mature your mindset, you begin to understand that there are so many different ways of doing things, that your fixed sign doesn't come into play anymore. You know what I'm saying? most people think that, you know, because you are a certain way, you're supposed to stay that way. But if you realize that certain things happen, so you can kind of survive, but in order for you to thrive, you have to let certain things go. And being that way is something that I had to let go. So my ego just, you know, being, I'm gonna do this the way that I know how to do it, and I don't care about what anybody else says. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I've had to let that go.
I'm running into that now too, and I was wondering, like, was that like a trait? I know it is a trait of being like the Scorpio, like, you know what I'm saying, from my rising sign. But I was like, I'm trying to get out of that, like, you know what I'm saying, and also looking at the way the world is shifting, like, you know what I'm saying, and being able, I'm blessed to have my elders in my life to where they come from a whole nother generation, like they bookkeeping, like still writing shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, grandma, you just put that in your phone, like, oh, what if the internet shut down? We need this on the look. I'm like, all right, so, but they don't know, they like not up on the latest technology or the fastest way of doing things.
They don't trust it. They know about it. They just don't trust it.
And they like, I've been doing this shit 80 years. I'm about to keep on doing it 80 years, you know. But I also see like where I'm standing at, like I know that work, but I also know that if I stick to what they taught me, like, you know what I'm saying, I don't shift, I'm gonna be behind. I'm gonna be in one of these classes I don't want to be in, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's gonna be in the remedial class.
Like, nigga, we went to Stone Ways, like, nigga, like
Stone tablets and shit.
Like, so you gotta change with the times. You gotta change with the times, man. And like, back to what you were saying about how people just, you know, might be older than you or another position than you, and so their ego come into play thinking they know more than you. You know, the way I start, because I have like friends in different age groups, I look at things like frequency now. I don't even look at it in age. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I look at it on frequency, because when I was working at the roof house, I was what's it called, residential counselor. So it was a lot of kids, you know, youth coming in like 16, 17, 19, you know what I'm saying? They had lived a life and told a story that I couldn't imagine telling. And at that point, and at that time, I was like 10 years older than a lot of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how I was like, you can really learn something, because from like people younger than you, they wasn't even kids. Like, they just was that age, you know, biologically, but mentally they've been through something that they survival skills, like, I didn't have none of that. Because I didn't have to go through none of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's what really taught me about, and being able to build a relationship with them and people like older than me. Like, shit is about frequency, man.
It is.
You know?
I have this thing where I love the whole like village mentality. You know what I'm saying? In the village, there are all different kinds of people, and we need every single one of them. You know what I'm saying? We need the person who has the carpenter mindset. We need the person who has the intellectual mindset. We need the person that has the IT mindset. The, you know, whatever it is, we need all these people with these different aspects, because it can teach us, you know, different ways of being and doing things. You know, the most thing that we always do when we are around people who are different than us, the first thing we do is we look at their difference. You know, instead of saying, what can I learn from this person? You know what I'm saying? Instead of saying, well, she like me. You know, good. What can I learn from her? You know what I'm saying? Or what can I learn from him? Or what can I learn from them? You know what I mean? Well, like, what can I learn? And that's so, you have to be in a space of always wanting to learn, because if not, again, like we just said, you'd be, you know, off somewhere in the remedial class, sitting there, you know, still writing on stone tablets and stuff like that. So you have to be able to change up your mentality. You have to be able to grow spiritually, you know, mentally. You've got to be able to do these things. And a lot of times, I've worked with, like, for some reason, all the people that I either have to work with or help, in any specific way are always older than me.
Mm.
Always. And to see some of these people not have the technological skills that are necessary, it is very sad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is very sad. And so I have to, the universe has assigned me to this group, this age group of people,
Mm-hmm.
to help them, because obviously it's my job,
Mm-hmm.
because literally this has been all my life, right? So as I'm, getting a little bit older and I'm realizing, really what's going on, I'm like, oh, okay, so you're here because you're supposed to be helping this age group with their technological skills. Some people who don't want to, just like you said, here's this new technology, and they don't want to use the technology. I have to always explain that if you don't use this, then you possibly are not going to be able to survive. Like, you literally are not going to be able to survive, because, like, technology is going so fast, and if you're not grasping any concept of it, you're going to be, like you said, left behind. But I take it a step even further than that. There's when you can't survive in a world that's changing, you eventually die off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally,
Mm-hmm.
you eventually
Mm-hmm.
die off.
Mm-hmm.
And so people don't really know how important it is to be able to let go of certain mindsets, because, you just used to doing something a certain way. It's important for your life, you know. Yeah, tribe, that's a little bit smaller. I didn't realize it was so small, the little pot there. But it's you know, yeah.
Yeah.
It's something in the other one though. But yeah, just I don't know. We have to be in a constant state of wanting to learn, grow, and change.
Yeah.
We have to be in that mindset.
Yeah.
What are some things that that you have found to help you when you need to make changes? What are some things that you do yourself?
I listen to my I call them my YouTube mentors that have this app where I'm trying to go,
Mm-hmm.
and try to adopt those mindsets and habits, and try to eradicate what's not serving me no more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, from my mindset, because what I notice is we're conditioned by our environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to another level in my life and asking God to take me to another chapter where the mindset of surviving is not going to serve me in, like, what I'm saying, where I need to invest, or where I need to have a healthier mindset, And so I know that, and I know I keep saying and going back to Abraham Hicks, but I probably would talk about her a lot, but she really do help me to unlock, like, what I'm saying, and understand just the laws of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And it don't have really nothing to do with your environment. It's just how the way things is. And so understanding just, I find that people get frustrated with themselves along the process of growth, and we dismiss the fact that we are programmed, and rewiring takes time. Like, what I'm saying, we're not patient with ourselves. Like, you've been doing something for 30 years, just because now all of a sudden you want to grow. You're subconsciously trained to do a thing. Like, what I'm saying? So you always have to be, like, conscious of the fact that, okay, so what? I didn't automatically do my, meet my goal, but I'm going to be patient with myself until I just naturally fall into this new rhythm and new way of doing things. What I know is, if you get frustrated with yourself, like, you're going to give more energy to being frustrated and rather than growing. You know what I'm saying? So really learning how to be patient with myself has helped me. Like, and new information. New information, not what makes sense to me, not what I'm used to hearing, like, new information. And, challenging myself to, like, get on that frequency. Mm-hmm. And you will know you're on that frequency when you start attracting, you know what I'm saying, things of that to you. Mm-hmm. What's helped you?
what's really helped me is asking myself, is this in alignment with the person that I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
Is this in alignment with the spaces that I see myself in? Um, is this in alignment with the life that I want to have? So when I ask myself those questions, then I realize that nope, this is not. The behavior is not. And so I straighten it out. You know what I'm saying? Not trying to say that, it's always easy, because it's not. Sometimes when sometimes it's like a train that's moving, and you know how when a train moving really fast, and then all of a sudden a car jump out, you can't just stop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's already in motion.
Yep.
So you're going to get run over and some more
Mhm.
stuff, So, but the more that I begin, and we talked about this before, the more that I talk to myself, the more that, the less that I have specific issues like that. You know what I'm saying? What has really helped me is, for one, when I'm talking with my partner, and I can see behaviors, like you have to really say, not just, you notice it or you're aware of those particular behaviors. You have to really understand what those behaviors do. Yeah. So if they are a behavior that can cause, dissension, if that type of behavior can cause like anger, being upset, or just something that you really don't want, you have to literally stop yourself and say, is this in alignment with what I want for this particular space? And the more that I did that, the more that I found that, I didn't have to do that as much. You know what I'm saying? And so, which is really, it's been a beautiful thing to me just to be able to be in that space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, damn, that shit used to get on my nerves. You know what I'm saying? That don't get on my nerves anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I just, begin to understand it. And again, that has a lot to, I had posted something earlier in the week about triggers. And people don't realize that you get triggered like that. That is a hint, is a clue of something that you need to work on. And most people, we see it as aggravation or annoyance. And it is, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? That's almost like a space of pain for you. It's just like it's a symptom of something greater that you really have to look up and say, why is this thing triggering me so much? And how do I heal from this? And not just heal from this, but how do I not allow this the next time, and the time after that, and the time after that, and the time after that, be consistently where I'm a space where I'm no longer triggered by this particular thing that happens. And most people, you thinking, yes, we do need to get away from people that trigger us, but that's only so that you can get to a space where you understand why you're being triggered, and you're able to integrate the new behavior in that space, to fill up being triggered, to remove the trigger and to be integrated with this whole new way of being where you're no longer triggered. But people, I don't want to be around her because she get on my nerves. Well, she get on your nerves because there's something that's there, and you have to understand why that is. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. 9 times out of 10, people are not trying to mess with you. You know what I mean? Like 9 times out of 10, people are not trying to mess with you. If you are hanging around people who are trying to trigger you, then you need to
let that go.
You need to let that go. That's something else. You know what I'm saying? That's literally something else. But if you're around people who are talking to you about certain things, and you're being triggered by what they're sharing or talking to you about, then you got to look on the inside. You know what I'm saying? You know that person really, again, like we said in the beginning, they're not trying to hurt you in any way, shape, or form. So, all of that. All of that. This has been like a good conversation.
It was.
It's been a good conversation. There's so much more that we, of course, can talk about within, ego, within triggers, within letting go of the ego, within, utilizing the ego in spaces where, and we didn't really go all the way into this, there are times when you really do need your ego. There are times when, and I was getting ready to get into this space where I asked you about some things that you feel insecure about. Those are times when you need your ego. You know what I'm saying? To help bring you up to a level of confidence. Because sometimes we be in our insecure phase of, not really understanding that right now, I'm not feeling great about this particular behavior. I'm not feeling great because I feel like I might be a little feminine today. You know what I'm saying? And not realizing that, you need your confidence or your ego to say, fuck that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If that's what you feeling today, be it. You know what I'm saying? So your ego, having that ego or that sense of self-importance is important in some spaces. When it goes overboard is the time where you do not need it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's really when you do not need it.
I think I exercised it most during slam in poetry. When I had to get in the headspace, I was in competition for that money. You cannot go out there doubting yourself. Like, it's going to show in your performance. It's going to show, like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, in competition mode, I have to, like, really get in my ego zone. Like, yeah, like, I've seen the other side of it, like, the destruction it can do when you don't, like, pull it back by its reins. Like, you know what I mean? And that's just... Everybody got an ego. And it's like, somebody got to, like, operate in the spirit where this makes sense, man, because, but positively, like, I'll say, like, exercising when you going for something, when you trying to reach a goal, when you trying to accomplish something, like, that's when time to exercise ego. Like, you know what I mean? But
most definitely.
Other than that, pick your battles. Yeah, pick your battles.
Pick them, choose them wisely. Most people, the other aspect of that too is when you are utilizing your ego in spaces of competition, in spaces of where you need to be super confident in what it is that you're doing and how you're being in your own skin. But then there is a thing where you can go overboard, like you said, on that as well. When you start belittling other people or dogging other people, like,
don't do that.
Don't do that.
We don't do that.
Your ego is all about you. You keep it in this space right here. Don't take it outside of that. When we have this thing where she thinks she's better than I am, or you know what I mean, or I do think I'm better than you. You know what I mean? Like, nah, don't take it there. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't take it in that particular space. But ego, it is something. People talk about ego death. Telling you to remove the ego. No, don't do that. You need the ego in certain spaces. Everything can be used in a positive and enlightening and good way. Everything. So a lot of things that people will be all, that's witchcraft or that's negative or you shouldn't do that or all these different things that they're telling you. There's always something good about that particular thing. You have to. It depends on you, the person who's using whatever energy that is, to use it in the best way that's going to help you but not damage other people.
Yep.
So, yeah. That's what I say and I stick to it. Yeah. All right, so, this has been the Human Experience Podcast with Kai Man.
And Phoenix, if you found some value in this and you watching this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. We appreciate you. We get this message out, pass this along to somebody that can utilize this information. If you like watching this on any other platform, just connect with us, hit that follow button so we can keep being tapped in with you.
Right. And if you're listening to it on any of the podcast platforms, be sure to share it with other people and download it as well. We appreciate you guys. We love you.
It's been real. Peace.
Thanks for listening to today's show. You can watch the show on our YouTube channel or listen in every first and third Sundays at 12 p.m. on all major podcast platforms.